My name's Joel,
And I'm Andrene.
and you are listening to Rewind Rewatch, a 90s movie podcast. Welcome back, Rewinders, to another episode of the Rewind Rewatch podcast, where my sister and I will discuss a 90s movie. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on what took place in the film, try to identify what the film's themes were, and at the end of the episode, we will give it a rewind rating from 1 to 5 based on how rewatchable we find the movie to be in 2026. And for today's episode, we will be discussing The Long Kiss Goodnight from 1996, starring Geena Davis and Samuel L. Jackson.
That is correct. This is an R-rated film with a 2-hour runtime. And this was requested by 4 lucky listeners this week.
Ooh, highly requested.
Yes. First up, we have Thwip Stickers out of Georgia.
Shout out to Thwip Stickers.
Next up, we have Nick out of Baltimore.
Shout out to Nick.
We have a listener whose name is Belated Reflections,
Ooh.
who found us on YouTube.
Shout out to Belated Reflections and shout out to YouTube.
And
And
they're listening from Finland.
shout out to Finland.
And then lastly, our last listener, her name is Monet. She requested this about a year ago, and I could not find whether it was an email or Instagram. I did multiple searches. I couldn't figure out where the request was sent in, so I'm not sure where she's listening from. But Monet also requested it.
She's listening from the planet Earth, baby.
There you
Shout
have
out
it.
to Monet.
This was requested by Rennie Harlan, and
Requested.
directed by.
I was about to say, well, there's a fifth?
directed by Rennie Harlan, who also directed Deep Blue Sea, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Die Hard 2, and probably my favorite film by this director is called The Devil's Pass. It came out in 2013. It is about the Dyatlov Pass incident that happened back when a bunch of Soviet ski hikers died by strange circumstances. It's a very interesting true story that he made into a horror film. And what's interesting about the actual story is like these are like very like professional um like people who've been hiking for a while and know what they're doing. And 6 of them died from hypothermia. 3 died from trauma so severe that it looked like they were in a car crash. And like people are really unsure as to what exactly happened. There were no signs of struggle on any of the bodies, and the bodies were partially naked or shoeless. It was really intriguing stuff.
Abominable Snowman.
I don't know. Some people say, was it aliens? Was it, did an avalanche occur? Like, people aren't really sure what happened, but the movie Devil's Pass, I highly recommend. It was really good.
All right, well, shout out to them. So this movie was my pick, and I recognized that, there were a number of people that requested it. This is not a movie I was really familiar with, but I was like, well, a lot of people seem to want us to look at this film, so here we are. And I'm trying to think if we've seen. Oh yes, so we saw Geena Davis in what's that movie called? The baseball,
A
No
League
Crying
of
in
Their
Baseball.
Own.
Yes, I'm like No Crying
No
in Baseball
Crying in
movie.
Baseball.
A League of Their Own. That's right.
Correct.
And I don't believe we've covered any Samuel L. Jackson movies before.
So they weren't his movies, but we did see him twice on the pod.
Okay, now I'm trying to think of Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know. I can't think of it.
Okay, so the first one was a small role in Juice. He ran the arcade.
Oh man, I completely forgot he was in that movie.
And then the second one is a larger role.
Okay.
I'll give you the quote.
Okay.
Hold on to your butts.
Oh yes, Jurassic Park. Well, that's another movie that when I think of it, I don't think of Samuel L. Jackson being in it until they go into the computer lab and then I'm like, okay, yeah, now I'm waiting for him to show up.
Right.
But that's also like I don't think about the computer lab when I think about this movie. All right, so shout out to him. All right, have you seen this movie before?
I have seen it once
All right.
years ago.
So now that you've rewatched it, what is your one sentence summary to describe this film?
A woman with amnesia slowly begins to realize that she used to be a CIA agent.
Yes. Um, and I was struggling to identify exactly like what, because I was also in my, like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, okay, so she's like CIA.
Mhm.
There's a part of the film where like her former coalition is in the White House meeting with the president. And then I feel like she talks to the president on the phone at one point.
At the end, he
So I'm like,
calls her.
okay, this is
Yeah.
CIA, but the collective that she was a part of was called the Chapter, and it's being described as like a secret assassin operative.
Mhm.
So this might not even be CIA. Like it's like they are assassins. Like they're basically going out to murder. Not to say that the CIA doesn't do that as well, but I don't know that they ever actually used the phrase CIA. But in any event, she is someone who has been trained to murder people, and particularly for people who are um, at risk of doing like some sort of major crimes. But when we first meet this character, we don't know that, and she's going by the name Samantha Kane. She explains to us as the viewers that she basically woke up on a beach. She had a filed down key that she didn't know what it was for, and she had no memory prior how she ended up on the beach, who she was, where she came from, and this was 8 years prior. So now she's basically living her life under the name Samantha Kane. She has something called focal retrograde amnesia, and we also find out that when she woke up on that beach, she was also pregnant. So she gives birth to a little girl named Katie.
Caitlin.
Katie.
Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin. And she's like, "Well, I don't know who her dad is. I don't know what my former life was, but we're just making this life for ourselves now."
I just
Uh,
want to pause here because can you imagine? Like, I can imagine waking up first of all and just not knowing who I am. Like that alone is terrifying. But you're pregnant. You have like you don't know who you are. You don't know what your skill set is. Like, how am I gonna make money? That's terrifying. I can't imagine. You're basically like, she says that I was born 8 years ago today because essentially that's when her memories
yeah,
begin.
I don't know what my birthday is. I don't know how old I am.
It's wild.
Yeah,
She has marks all over her body. She doesn't know how she got them. Like that in of itself, I think, is like its own mini nightmare.
it could be a nightmare. It could be a blessing. Um,
Yeah.
because when you think about it, like people are always talking about like, you can reinvent yourself. You go to college, you can reinvent yourself. You move to a new city, you can reinvent yourself. Move to a new country.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it is like there's always gonna be an annoyance of like, I don't know what my real name is. I don't know where I come from. I don't know like my backstory basically. But I think it would also be in some ways a little freeing to not have like literally any baggage. Like you're a fully grown adult. You obviously know how to do certain things. You know how to drive. You know how to make jokes. It's not like like, you know what I'm saying? Like she has like a developed personality
That's
that she
true.
doesn't know where it came from. But it's also kind of like I can make up my life from here without necessarily having like whatever previous trauma or drama she has in her life is irrelevant until what I would like to call um rookie of the year theory, which is
What is that
basically
theory?
the rookie of the year theory. So you remember the movie Rookie of the Year
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
with
Yes.
my guy from American Pie.
Yes, I
Shout
remember
out to
that.
my guy whose name I don't remember. Henry Rowan Gardner. Um, where basically he's goofing around with his friends. He slips and falls, and in the process of breaking his arm, he develops this amazing ability to throw fastballs.
Right.
So basically, in this movie, she's going about her life as Samantha Kane. She goes to a holiday party. She's driving this drunk guy home who decides to cover her eyes on the highway for whatever reason. Crashes into a car, flies out of the windshield
Mhm.
into a ravine on the side of the road. And then as she's laying there, she starts getting like flashbacks of her other life. So it's kind of like she has this violent accident that creates some sort of like uncanny ability, which is something that I don't think actually happens in real life, but that's what it reminded me of. It's like, oh, I had this violent accident and now I can do this amazing thing that I couldn't do
Yeah.
before.
It's very 90s sitcom too.
Yeah.
Like get hit in the head or lightning hits you or something, and then all of a sudden now you can see the future.
Right, exactly. That's so Raven. It's the future I can see. Um,
Oh man.
and the funny part about that scene is they actually hit a
The
deer.
deer is what was really funny.
They hit a deer, which makes them crash into a car, and then the car bursts into flames after she flies out of the windshield. So she's laying there, all bloody, and you could see like into her brain, and she starts to kind of like see this former self start to like show flashes. And she sees the deer dying next to her,
Mhm.
walks over to the deer, breaks its neck
Well, she's trying to put it out of its
to
misery.
put it out of its misery,
Yeah.
right? So then I'm thinking, oh, if she's starting to get like flashbacks from her former life,
She about to be a spy right now.
she's
or-
about to like go save that old man. But then she doesn't.
Well, I feel like his car door was open. So I'm like, was he just dead? Like, did he get out? Like, I forgot about him, to be honest with you.
I was like, oh, she's about to like turn into a hero. And then she was just like, oh, and then she just passed back out,
She
and
was
then the car
tired.
burst into flames. I was like, oh, I guess I guess that old man didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I also thought that her powers would not powers, but her memories would just come flooding back like right then. But it takes like, a little bit of time for her to actually remember who she is. Because at first she thinks that she's a chef. And that scene was a lot. So she's basically preparing dinner because now she has a boyfriend or fiance, Hal. And she's at home with Hal and Caitlin, and they're about to prepare dinner, and she starts cutting a carrot. And the first time she tries cutting the carrot, she pricks her finger.
Well, nah, she's also trash. Like
Yeah, she could barely cut.
She can't cut food. So this is the whole thing. It's like she's like taking mad long to cut the carrots.
And then after she cuts herself, she's like, "Wait, I'll do it. Don't worry. Like, if I blow over the carrots, you're gonna have to eat it." And I'm like, "Okay, this is gross, but fine." She starts cutting the carrots, and all of a sudden, now she's chopping it like a professional chef. And she's like, "Wait, Hal, look!" And she's like chopping very fast. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Wait, give me something else." It's like throwing her like peppers and like
Tomatoes,
onions,
scallions. Oh, so much scallions.
And they're throwing all the vegetables at her, and she's chopping away. And then she starts balancing the point of the knife on the tip of her finger. Look, chefs do this. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, this is okay, fine. Maybe if she works at like one of those, those not steakhouses, hibachi grill, and maybe they might do something like this. But then at the very end, she gets a tomato and she ends up throwing it at a cabinet and then throwing the knife directly through the tomato up against the wall. And then like Hal and Caitlin stop laughing, and it's kind of like, all right. And she's like, yeah, chefs do that. It's like, girl,
Chefs do that.
they don't do that. So like I said, it's a very gradual process that she's like, certain skills are coming back to her. And the most glaring, I guess, sign that she might be something else is when uh, One-Eyed Jack ends up finding where where she lives. He was an inmate in a prison up in Jersey, and in her town, she was in the Christmas parade as Mrs. Claus. It was televised, and he sees it from prison. And in his rage, he couldn't believe that she was not dead because, as far as he's concerned, he killed her. I mean, he shot her at the side of the head, and then she fell off a cliff into the water. And so One Eye Jack is like, she basically took out my eye. I've got to exact my revenge. So he escapes from prison, He finds out where she lives. He has this crazy shotgun, and this scene just starts getting crazy. I mean, he comes in guns blazing. Um, a little bit of Home Alone happens here because she spills some M&Ms on the floor, and he slips on it and falls back. And I always wondered to myself, like, if I were to spill M&Ms on the floor in front of you and you're wearing shoes, like, I don't.
I would crush the M&Ms. Like, is it M&Ms, jelly beans?
Skittles.
Like, you would never trip on candy.
No.
Whoa!
Marbles, yes.
You could step on a banana peel, and I'm pretty sure you still wouldn't slip. You're definitely not slipping on M&Ms.
Yeah. So yeah, he falls back,
Also,
misses.
this shotgun is like a flamethrower. Like, I don't
Oh
understand.
my god.
He's shooting the shotgun, and it's creating these huge holes in the wall, blowing entire like doors off the frame. I'm just like, what's going on here? It reminded me of the movie we watched last week,
Mhm.
where with Daddy's gun.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And at one point, he's trying to shoot her and he misses and blows off like basically a whole side of her wall of the house.
Right.
And when that happens, she's trying to save her daughter Caitlin. So she just throws Caitlin through the wall and Caitlin lands safely like across the way into the treehouse. And I was like, "Oh, okay. That was a choice." And now, of course, her skills are starting to kick in, and she's fighting him in the kitchen. But she ends up taking him out by throwing like a lemon meringue pie in his face. And I was kind of confused by that because the pie wasn't even in like a glass container. It was in like a regular like those metal,
Yeah,
not metal,
foil.
like
Yeah.
foil container. And like she hits the pie, he falls on the ground like, and then all of a sudden she takes his head, picks it up, and then just drops it. And I was like,
Woo!
how did the pie knock him out?
Nah.
I didn't understand.
Lemon meringue at that. Not even like a thick,
Yeah.
not even a hefty pie. It's
Right.
like the softest pie there is.
I was like, what? Oh, this is like
That's
Cool
like
Whip.
that's the pie that you hit clowns in the face
Exactly.
with.
And then when she slams his head down, Hal walks in and she's like, yeah, chefs do that. I was like, all right. All
Chefs
right.
do that.
Okay.
There's a fair bit of like cheesy 90s action one-liners
yeah.
throughout this film.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I feel like we talked about this a little bit when we watched True Lies. I feel like the cheese kind of like grows as the movie goes on. Like the beginning is like kind of not really that cheesy, and then by the end you're like, oh, they're like in full on like 90s action mode. And it's funny because it feels like the movie is almost like it at certain parts, especially towards the end of the movie, it feels like it's almost like a spoof of the exact type of movie that it is. It's just like so kind of over the top with like the cheesy one-liners and the die screaming.
Die screaming, motherfucker.
Oh my god, like this is like an SNL sketch about a 90s action movie. But one thing I can say that I absolutely hated.
Oh, yes.
Straight off the bat. I was definitely not a fan of these dream sequences where she was seeing herself in a mirror or something. It's like she would get knocked out, and then it was like her former self was Charlene, aka Charlie Baltimore, and her new self is Samantha Kane. So it's like she would get knocked out, and then while she's like in this dream state, she'd be like looking in the mirror, and then Charlie would show up. And then it's like, yeah, I'm back. And like she's like talking to Samantha. Like it was like I feel like they were trying to make some sort of like metaphor about her old personality coming back, but it was so on the nose that I was like, there had to be a better way to do this.
Well,
I really did not enjoy this.
Not just that, when I was watching it, I was like, this almost feels like a split personality thing.
Yes.
Versus her memory returning.
Yes. And it definitely feels like that because at some point, after the initial Rookie of the Year accident, she is trying to teach her daughter how to ice skate.
Oh yeah.
And the daughter's not getting it. She's scared. She falls down. And then she like basically gives her like this tirade about how she's being soft. And she's like, yeah, so what? It's hard. Life is pain. Get used to it. And it's like Charlie showed up in the middle of this Samantha moment. But then after it happens, the daughter's like scared because she's like, my mom never acts like
She's
this.
also injured.
Right. So then she like Samantha shows back up, and then she's like, something happened with my daughter, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think I did something. So it's like, so is this a split personality? Because it's one thing for like sides of your personality to show up in different moments,
Mhm.
but it's like, but you don't even remember what happened.
Yeah. That's why it was kinda confusing me because I was like, "Is this her memory coming back or is she?"
But that's not, yeah. But that trope also isn't consistent throughout the film
Exactly.
because it happens at the beginning where it's like, oh, when one shows up, the others doesn't remember,
Mhm.
but then by the end of the movie, they
They
both fully
merge.
remember
Yeah.
because Samantha gives her daughter the file down key, and by the end, when she's fully Charlie, she goes back to the house to get it. She wouldn't know where the key was
Yeah.
if she didn't remember.
But the difference was Samantha cared about Caitlin, and initially Charlie did not, because Charlie said, "I never wanted a kid. Nobody asked me if I wanted this kid." Like, that was Samantha's choice to have this kid.
Mm-hmm.
So she kinda, like, even though she went back to get the key, if you remember, I was kinda laughing because she's, like, ransacking the house looking for this key, and she realizes that Caitlin is across, well, not across the street, but maybe a couple blocks over doing this Christmas play outdoors, and she's using, like, the scope of her her sniper rifle to look at her daughter prepare like, doing this
And her
play.
boyfriend.
And she's kinda looking like, "Oh, okay, I guess they're over there." But, like, there really wasn't, like, a soft spot in her heart for her daughter when she is in the Charlie persona until the daughter gets kidnapped, and then she's like, "Damn, I gotta save this girl." We gotta talk about Mitch, though,
I,
unless you
I have a lot to say about her relationship with the daughter. So, I mean, we can talk about that now or
Alright, let's
later.
do the daughter. Go ahead.
Because, all right, so like you said, there's no love lost. I didn't want to have a kid. I don't care about this family. I'm just trying to do my mission. I'm trying to close out the mission that I started 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And in the midst of this, her boss has like turned into a bad guy. Like it's a whole thing, which we'll also get to later. So the daughter gets kidnapped, and now she's like, "Oh, I have to make a choice. Like, am I gonna just dip? I have this key that opens a bank box that has all my IDs and cash,
Mhm.
which is what I need
Which she
to
can live
basically
off.
be a spy. So I could just dip." But she's like, "Damn, this little girl got kidnapped. I'm gonna try to save her." All right. So on the one hand, it feels like she's just kind of like, "I don't want this little girl to die."
Mhm.
And a number of action movie things ensue with them trying to save her, and it ends up with her getting caught, and the bad guy throws her and her daughter into a freezer and turns the temperature down to like minus 40. So basically, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave you out here. You're gonna freeze to death." And they're going to like carry out this terrorist plot where they're gonna like drive a truck into the middle of the town and blow it up. So now she's like, "Damn, we about to die." The daughter starts freaking out. "Mommy, I'm cold, da da da."
Mhm.
And you see all like the blowing smoke and everything. And then she's like, "No, don't worry, we're gonna figure it out." So she figures out this plot to like, she takes a file and files down. It was like a crowbar, which why would you leave them in there with a crowbar? But whatever. She takes the crowbar, files down a funnel underneath the door, and then takes a bunch of gasoline that she had filled her daughter's doll with to try to like get it into the kerosene outside the door to blow off the door. But she can't get the spark to start. And then she's like, "Dang, I all I need is the spark so that I can blow up the gasoline, but it's not working."
Mhm.
And then she's like, "Mommy, look, I have these matches. I always carry matches with me." And then that's when she's like, "Oh, you have these matches. Oh, I love you."
That kinda confused me because at the beginning of the movie, I'm pretty sure her character didn't smoke. Because remember, she was
She
always
doesn't
like
smoke.
chastising that little boy on the way, like smoking is bad for you, it'll kill you. And then later on with Mitch in the hotel, he's smoking and she gets mad and closes the door.
Yeah,
Like, if you
nah, she doesn't smoke
so
until she turns into Charlie.
so why did the daughter have matches in her cast?
It doesn't
It
make
didn't make any
it didn't make
I'm like, did
sense.
I miss something?
I feel like she gave some reason why she always carried matches
She
with
said, I
her.
always carried them for you, is what she said. And
Uh,
that's why I was like, but she doesn't smoke.
yeah, I don't know.
And when she changed, she wasn't even living with the daughter anymore. So I was like, why would she have? All right.
Anyway, the reason I bring all this up is because it felt like this moment where they were finally able to like save their lives, basically.
Hmm.
And then it's like, oh, I love this girl now because you just saved both of our lives. But it's not actually based on like I actually love this girl. It felt like a little it wasn't emotionally driven. Like it was like a
Mm,
survival I love you. And then all of a sudden from the rest of the movie, now she like really cares about this girl.
right.
But it's like nothing really actually happened for them to connect each other than the fact that they were about to die and the girl had matches. So there was no like the turn at the end didn't really make a lot of sense. And then at the end of the movie, when they defeat the bad guys and she's free to like go and live her life, and this is when she talks to the president, and he's like, "Yo, like you save the country from having to witness this terrible terrorist attack.
Hmm.
Like we want you to join back the federal forces." And she's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here." So it's like the whole movie, she's like, I look out for myself. I don't want a family. I don't want kids. I don't want a partner. I only sleep with men so that I can get things out of them, so I can
Hmm.
get information to help me
Hmm.
be a better assassin. Like this whole thing. And then throughout the course of her saving this little girl's life and the little girl saving her life, her entire personality just switches back to Samantha Kane. And then it's like, all right, so now we're supposed to believe at the end of the movie, now she wants to be a family woman, despite the fact that, like, she vehemently did not want this for the entire time. It's like this experience that she had with her daughter basically makes her decide to change who she fundamentally was.
Yeah, I didn't quite follow that because at the end, when she's talking to the president and he asks her back and she says no, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a school teacher. Don't worry, like it's good pay or something." And we see that she has her recovered funds, all of her passports, and she's in the car by herself. I thought she was getting ready to leave town and
Right.
like I don't know, do her own thing, create new identity,
Right.
whatever. And then later on, you see her like she's with living in the middle of nowhere with Hal, Caitlin, and a dog. I don't know.
Gotta have a dog.
Yeah, because Caitlyn wanted a dog, and before she wouldn't let her have one. So now she conceded and got her. That's right. In the freezer, she was like, "How about we get that dog?"
Was that before or after she said I love
It
you?
was before the "I love you." I
Yeah.
think at that point, it was trying to be like, in case if we get out of here, I'll get you a dog,
Right.
kind of deal. And now she's like, a happily, married. I'm assuming, mother and whatever wife, but then she still has the spy aspects in her because she's so gifted with her knife that there's a cricket that's annoying them with the chirping, and she takes her knife and throws it and lands on the rock exactly where the cricket is, and she stops the cricket from chirping, and she's like, and I was like,
I
okay.
still got it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like if
Chefs
need
do
if
that.
need be, if need be, I can still protect us, and but it's also like they live in the middle of nowhere. So what is her job exactly? I have no idea.
School teacher.
How, okay, on the prairie, like what?
Little house on the
Yeah,
prairie,
that's what
dog.
that's what it felt like.
That's what it is.
So I'm like, why would she choose to live here? Yeah, you're right. The transformation will leave. I wasn't buying it, but it was like, all right, I
Cause
guess.
like, bro, like, it's not like if they had the split personality, if they maintained that throughout the film, then you could say, oh, at the end she's
She
just Samantha
just forgot.
and
Yeah,
Charlie's gone. But it's like, nah, at the end she's Charlie and she just decides to pretend to be Samantha.
yeah. She even grows her hair back because remember Charlie cut her hair short, and
Oh, that's right.
at the end she grows her hair back.
That's
So
right.
now she's going back into the
Yeah, she's like,
Samantha.
I'm choosing to be Samantha now.
Yeah,
Because, well, I think it's also important to establish like how do these two characters differ? because they are like
Oh my
they're
god.
like polar opposites.
So I actually really like the transformation that happened between Samantha and Charlie in the hotel. So we'll talk about Mitch, but she's with Mitch and they're in this hotel, a nice hotel at that. Um and Mitch is like passed out from injuries and so she's in the bathroom deciding now like, yeah, I remember who I am. I got my little sniper rifle, like I'm out here. And she cuts her hair. Samantha has long brunette hair. She's a school teacher. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't curse. She's very proper. She's, a very nice lady. You would call her nice. Charlie cuts her hair short, bleach blonde, like atomic blonde,
Hmm.
dark eyeshadow, eyeliner, lipstick, like a hot pink lipstick.
Tight clothes,
Very yeah. She's rubbing up on Mitch, trying to bang, whereas before she was just very conservative and like, "Don't touch me." Ah."
cusses, smokes,
Yeah,
drinks.
all of it.
You
Like a
saw
sailor
that
taking shots.
that shot
Oh my
when
god.
when she rolled it across her mouth and drank it at the same time.
I said, "Oh,
I was like, I never seen that
I
trick
said, we
before.
in Vegas?"
That joint
That's what
kind
it
of
felt
fire
like.
though.
Yeah.
I think they were in Vegas
I
actually.
mean, she needs to be in Vegas. She was phenomenal.
Did you try it after you watched it?
I
Did you?
didn't try it. It was
Well,
too late. I was falling asleep, man. I was tired.
well, you could try it now.
I'll try it. I'll try it after we finish recording. Yeah. I mean, she's completely different. She came in and Mitch is looking at her like, "What?" He can't believe that
What
this
the
is the
hell's
same.
going on in here?
He couldn't believe it's the same person. But yeah, she's a completely different person. She doesn't care about anything. Even the way that she talks to men. And a lot of this stuff didn't age well. Like I'll say, it's a lot of lines in this movie where I was just kind of like, "Whoa, this, why are we talking like this?" It's definitely the '90s of it all.
It's an
Uh,
edgy rated R movie.
Apparently,
That they were definitely going for it.
but for her, like, there was this one part where actually a headhunter is trying to sidle up to her and draw her into a side alley, a dark alleyway, and he's like, "Hey, you want some company?" And she says to him like, "Oh, I'm trying to find it now because I like lost where I was in my notes. Uh, oh, here it is. She says, basically like, "No, I'm saving myself for when I get raped." I was like,
Nah, that's an
"What?"
insane line. Insane.
And I guess it was supposed to show that like, oh, like, I'm edgy but I was like, no, like I don't know any woman that would use that as a like.
Yeah,
I
nah,
don't
that's crazy.
no. No. So I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I mean, different character, tight clothing. She's this, that, and the other. Doesn't care about anybody, and she's always like 2, 3 steps ahead. Like she's always trying to figure out a way to get out. And so that's how it's like. Even when she's like captured or tortured and things start happening, there's never that fear something's gonna happen to her because '90s action films. If you're the main character, we know you're going to live. So it's just a matter of how is she gonna get out of this trap this time. You know?
It was also, I mean, you talk about '90s action films. The funny thing about this movie, and many movies like this, is that despite the fact that she is a part of this collective called the Chapter, and when she reappears, not only are the bad guys trying to find her, people like One Eyed Jack or whatever his name is, but the Chapter is also trying to find her, and they're trying to basically eliminate her because number one, the head of the Chapter, Perkins, has basically joined forces with the terrorists. And number two, because she doesn't work for the government anymore, she knows too much. However, despite the fact that there are a group of assassins, they all seem significantly less equipped than she was, despite them all presumably getting the exact same training. She was like able to evade them completely. At one point, they tried to kill her at like Union Station, and they are missing. They're like shooting innocent bystanders. In the meanwhile, I'm
Hmm.
like, this is supposed to be a secret society of professional assassins, and they can't
Yeah.
capture her and Mitch, who is not even a secret agent. He is just a private investigator.
Who used to be a cop.
Yeah, sure. He used to be a cop.
Yeah.
They should have been able to take them both out very easily, and they did not. So it's very funny because it's like I said, it's always the main person in the film who's just like significantly better at whatever their job is, like Die Hard or, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, everybody else is also trained, but they're terrible compared to this person.
I think that's what made Kill Bill so interesting was because a lot of the times, although we had like a main character, the people that she were fighting were also very good. So I think that's kind of what,
Yeah, but
as far as
she
like the
she,
main
she also took
bosses.
out an
Yes.
entire army by
But
herself.
I mean, as far as like the main people she was fighting, like the one-on-one fights, I feel like at least it was like, oh, this is a very entertaining fight scene versus just like one kick and you're falling
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Whoa!
All right, so I
What's
kind of, oh, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, because you talk about like different ways that people get out of a jam. Like if you had like a favorite one from this movie, because there are a lot of different like we talked about the blowing up the kerosene to blow the door off of the
Hmm.
freezer. And there were a number of other times where it's like, oh man, she might be in trouble, and then she like gets out of it.
Well, the one that stands out to me was the whole underwater
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
That was probably my favorite, I guess, not rescue, but escape attempt was because they have her tied to this like torture machine. It's almost like a one of those like watermill
yeah,
wheels,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they had these huge ropes tied around her wrists, and of course they had to make sure she was wearing this white see-through negligee
Well,
because they're gonna dump her in water. I'm like, why do women have to be in underwear to get wet?
Charlie.
She could have had her clothes on and they still could have done the same thing.
Nah, because the whole point is that she's a sexy assassin. She can't. This is the whole point. And
You can be sexy with clothes on. It's
throughout the course of
possible.
this movie, they are not shy about the fact that she's fine as hell.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody is talking about how she looks good, whether she's Samantha or she's Charlie. But then Charlie is like, I look good and I'm owning it.
Mm. Okay. Yes. So she's
So they
tied.
had to,
She's
white shirt. It is.
she's tied to this wheel, and they're basically like waterboarding her, but like literally drowning her. So she was under the water for a few seconds, and they pulled back up. And I feel like underwater scenes for me are always the most, I guess, fear-inducing because one, I can't swim. Yes, I know that's shocking to some of you listeners, but I can't swim. Number two, I cannot hold my breath for very long. So the idea of having to be underwater with like, your ears, your sound goes out, just that sensation of being underwater freaks me out. And then having to like hold your breath and then open my eyes to look around to see how I can get out. I'd be dead after that first dip.
You better not have no contacts in.
I'd be dead after that first dip.
you better not have in your
They would
contacts.
pull me back up and be like, "It's been 20 seconds. How
Yeah.
is she dead?" But yeah, so she's under the water,
End
and
of movie.
we realize that the one person outside of Mitch that she could trust, who is played by Brian Cox from Succession,
Logan Roy.
he's a character of Nathan, I believe is his name. He is. They killed him. He's under the water. His body is there. And she remembers earlier that Nathan has said that he puts guns everywhere. There's always a gun basically in his underwear next to his package because typically people don't pat you down, that close. And so while she's under there, she's thinking, well, if I could just get one of my hands out and like get the gun from inside of his pants, then I can use that when I get lifted up to shoot Timothy. Like it was a lot. So, and I'm
Yeah,
not even
because also how's
how's
she
she
get her
getting her
hand?
hand out? She
She
basically just starts pulling.
She just wriggled it enough, and then it's like you
She's
see
bleeding.
you see a little bit of
She's
blood. It's like,
bleeding.
man, this really hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
But she had to do it.
She's bleeding. She gets her hand out. And I'm like, this is not believable. Like, I wanted to see, think about, you ever seen Gerald's Game based on that Stephen King book?
Oh, I've
Where the
seen that.
girl is
That
handcuffed to the bed?
I will never forget that. That's traumatic.
Like, when she pulls her
Oh,
hand out
so
of that
gross.
handcuff,
That was so gross.
but that was realistic. It's like,
It
if you're
was
gonna do
realistic.
it, that's what it should look like. It's
It
not gonna
was.
be a little bit of blood, a little bit of no. So she gets her hand out somehow. She gets the gun, and so when Timothy pulls her up for the last time on the wheel, she has one arm stuck to the wheel, and she gets up, bang, 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 and she's able to shoot him and kill him before he can shoot her and kill her. And she's able to then untie her other hand and escape. So that was probably the most fear-inducing for me.
All right, let's talk about Mitch. Samuel
Like
L.
we
Jackson's
said,
character.
Mitch was a police officer, we learn, who was a crooked cop. He got found out. He ends up spending 7 years, I think, in prison. And then when he came out, of course, he's no longer a cop. So now he's a PI. He's a low budget, low rent PI. The first time we see him basically setting up this guy uh who he's a John, quote unquote, who's there with the sex worker, and Mitch shows up with two other fake police officers basically to elicit a bribe from this guy, and it turns out that the sex worker is actually like Mitch's assistant. Um, and we see him trying to interact with his son, and it's very clear that his ex-partner, baby mother, does not approve of him at all. She's side-eyeing him the entire time.
She doesn't even want her son to accept gifts from him because she's like, it's probably stolen.
I mean, it probably was.
And he's like, "Come on, son. You know I would never steal something in the same town." Ha
Yeah.
ha 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 ha. He's like, "All right, Dad. I don't think I can accept
Right.
this."
He's like, "Yeah, mom's not really here for
Mom's
it."
not gonna let me bring this back inside the
Right.
house.
So it's very obvious that he's a scumbag. That's really what he is.
Right.
But somehow I was kind of like confused about what happened here, but his agency is able to track down Samantha. I think they mentioned that like one of her old landlords had like kept her things, and then I don't know if she was seen on the television or there was an announcement that she was getting married to Hal. Something happened. They were able to track her down. And so he drives to her house. And it just so happens that the same time he goes to the house is the same time that One Eye Jack is there, shooting his life away throughout the home. He ends up saving Caitlin and keeping her in his car. And I guess at that moment, she meaning Samantha realizes that she can probably trust Mitch because he had her daughter and he's like, "Yeah, we gotta try to figure out what's going on with you, like try to recover your memory." And so they go like across town to try to like to
Yeah.
contact her past
Yeah.
contacts to figure out who she is. So Mitch is kind of like her sidekick. But as the story goes on and she starts to become Charlie, Mitch can't believe that this is the same woman. He's like, "What exactly is happening here?"
Okay, let's say I buy it. You are a trained killer. I can't even say that with a straight face.
And I kind of had some issues with Mitch's disbelief. Like, yes, the cursing is different and the smoking is different and the dress is different and all that. But Mitch, you were almost dead because we find out that she goes to find this guy who she thought was her fiance, who we find out later on was actually a mark for her. She was supposed to be taking this guy out. And the guy realizes that she doesn't know who he is and is able to kidnap both of them and tie them up and all this. She single-handedly not only escapes from her captor, but she shoots everyone else that was there. Like he hears the gunfire. She comes down the stairs holding two guns, and Mitch is looking at her like, "What?" Then he wakes up, rescued in a comfortable bed in Vegas, patched up, looking good. And she's telling him, like, "Yeah, this is who I am, blah, blah, blah." Has guns all over the bed. And he's like, "You want me to believe that? No way." And I'm like, how could you not believe it? How do you not believe it? It made no sense to me.
There's no way this is the same woman.
You would have been dead, bro.
I mean, the whole premise of this is the fact that she had amnesia. So obviously she had a former life that she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And she just saved your life when you were about to die. So it's like, at this point, I'll believe whatever you say you want to be. I don't care
Whatever.
what you say. All right, yeah, that's what you are. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah.
There is like a shift because at the beginning, he's the private investigator. He gets this evidence about her past, and he's taking her along to go find out more. And she's kind of like along for the ride because she wants to learn who she is.
And she needs him.
Right. And then as she turns into Charlie, and of course, no makeover is complete without changing the way your hair looks.
I mean, that's the thing.
So once she changes her hair, it's like, oh, she's Charlie now. Believe it, buddy. Now he's the sidekick, and he's
Mhm.
along for the ride, and
Mhm.
he's basically taking her lead. So there was a little shift in the way that they played alongside each other throughout the course of this movie.
Can I talk about my favorite scene as it relates to the
Yes.
two of them?
Yes.
So you talk about how when she becomes Charlie, she is now calling the shots. And there's a scene where and actually going along with what you just said, before when he's the PI and she's still Samantha, he's driving the car. But then once she's Charlie, she's driving the car and he's the passenger. And basically he makes a comment like, "You don't need me anymore? Is that what it is?" And she ends up unlocking and opening his passenger side door and essentially kicking him out of the car while she's driving.
He's like, "You're right. I don't need you
And
anymore."
she just kicks him out. And Mitch's character, Mitch Hennessy, is a chain smoker. Every time we see this man, he's lighting up a cigarette. And
Just like Jurassic Park.
yeah, she kicks him out of the car, and he ends up falling out of the car and falling on his back. He just lies there. You see him shifting around. He goes into his pocket. He gets his pack of cigarettes, takes one out. He lights it, and he's proceeding to smoke on his back in the middle of the road. Like you can hear cars whizzing by.
Man, what a day.
You see cars driving by. He's just lying there smoking, and the camera's just watching him smoke. And the next thing you know, another car comes around and it stops, and you see that it's her, and she's like, "Get in." And he's like, it was just so like Samuel L. Jackson. Like he just had no care in the world, just lying there having a cigarette. It just brought a smile to my face. I really enjoyed that scene because he knew she was gonna come back, and also he's kind of like, if she doesn't, then I'm gonna enjoy the cigarette.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was a very fun scene for me.
We talked about like things that didn't age well.
Yes.
And there's
A
first
lot.
of all, the bitches are just flying around in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like every other line is somebody calling somebody else a bitch, and really only the female characters. So
Well, yeah.
but then it's like, oh, this bitch did this and this, that. But then she starts calling other women bitch herself, and it's just like, all right. It just felt to me like as the movie was progressing, and it, especially towards like the last 30 minutes, it felt very. I was just like, yo, what nerdy guy wrote this movie? Because it felt like a very like. I could picture the type of person who wrote this is someone who is like, oh, what happens if this assassin turns out to be this super hot chick, and then the bad guys are trying to get her, but she's gonna stop the terrorists, and she's gonna fly over, and then she's gonna rappel down the Christmas lights and shoot a gun at a helicopter. It's just like, it felt like a very like a nerdy guy who gets no chicks, and he's writing this story about this hot chick, and everybody's calling her such a bitch, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I'm trying to remember the last movie we talked about that was very much giving me like this vibe of.
Oh, you're about to upset some fans.
Oh, Fifth Element. Oh yeah, Fifth Element was definitely written by a nerd. Like, you could definitely tell, like, oh yeah. And not to say that this is like necessarily a bad movie, which we'll get to at the end, but like it definitely came off as like, oh, the person who wrote this never got chicks in their life, bro. You could just tell by the way that they write the females and the way that they write the men talking about the women.
Yeah, that was really what got me, because matter of fact, there's a scene where Mitch is still driving the car, and early on in the film, they drive past this woman who's jogging, and she's a very busty blonde.
Oh yeah, that scene was definitely.
I mean, and he almost crashes the car, like he's swerving all over the damn place, and she's like, "Damn, did you like get whiplash, turn your neck to see that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a guy thing. You wouldn't understand." And I'm like, okay. And she even asked him, like, what do you get from yelling out of a window, or like, what do you get out of that? And I'm sure the woman's not going to be like, oh, wow, that guy just catcalled me. Like,
right.
Good for me. Like, no, like, we don't react like that. We're not going to be like, oh, yes, I got catcalled today. Like, that's not, what do you get out of that? I don't understand it. But again, the whole idea of like, this is what guys do. Like, we can't help it. We're wired this way.
The woman's got a beautiful form. What do you want me to do?
I was like, all right, that was a lot. And then also, as far as what didn't age well, you had the older guy that she was driving back from the Christmas party who ends up dying. He like tries to like grope her at one point in the car. And he's like pretending like he's drunk. It's like, bro, you know what you're doing.
Classy.
And then the last one that pointed out to me was very, very early on in the film is when Mitch is doing this fake operation with this John, and there are so many anal rape jokes back to back.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, "Oh." It felt like My Cousin Vinny, I think it was. They had a lot of jokes, a lot of butt sex jokes in jail, and I was just like, "This is not it."
No.
But I'm sure in the 90s it killed.
It definitely killed in the 90s because that was the whole thing. It's like, oh, if a man goes to prison, he has to worry about getting raped.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole thing of like,
Don't
this-
drop the soap.
Yeah, this is what happens when you go to
Yeah.
jail. Like, you're going to get raped by men. And then, you know, you have shows like Oz that are like,
Oh God.
this is what it looks like when you're in prison. I think the part that bothered me the most is towards the end of the movie where they're up against incredibly bad odds because there's like this whole gang of terrorists. They put together this plot, and it just so turns out that the head of the chapter decided to team with the terrorists to create a terrorist attack to scare the government into giving the chapter more funding.
I gotta say though, to pause you right here, like based on other films we've covered, this is the best terrorist plot that I've seen. Because when you talk about True Lies, there really was we never really got the reasoning because just battery disease.
Yeah, it's
So
just,
we didn't know.
Battery así.
So we didn't know what
It
happened
was just
there.
I hate Americans.
Right.
That's it.
And then I guess Arlington Road, they were just terrorists.
Yeah.
We didn't really know why.
They hated the government.
Yes. But here it was kind of like I could legit see this happen because the reasoning that they gave was basically there was the World Trade Center attack.
94
It happened in 93.
or 93. Okay.
So there was a bombing that happened, and they said that during the trial, someone testified that the CIA knew about the attack, or someone in there had actually assisted with the attack, and so their budget for the chapter was cut. And so he was like, what was I supposed to do? There was no money, and so he teamed up with these bad actors / terrorists, and he's like, well, what we'll do is, he said, well, how can you fake a terrorist attack in order to get money? Well, I guess 4,000 lives are the cost we have to pay in order to get this funding. So they're going to go ahead, cause this attack, blow up this bomb in the city during Christmas Eve, and then blame it, they said, on the Arabs, which
Fun. That's another thing that
didn't
doesn't
age well. In order to scare money out of Congress. And I was like, bro, this would actually work.
It would work.
Like looking at today's, what's going on with money being given to, what's going on right now, I was like, this would absolutely work. And so I was actually like, this plot seems legit.
I will give this nerd credit, man, because the setup is also really good. In terms of, like you said, the terrorist plot is like, it's definitely like conspiracy theory driven, but it's believable conspiracy theory. And even the setup of like Caitlin runs away, but then she's trapped on the truck that actually serves as the bomb.
That was really good.
And then there's a decoy car that they're using to set up the terrorist attack, but then Mitch gets into the car. Like, and the way that they set everything up to work out at the end was like, the setup was actually really good.
Yeah. I was really impressed with it as far as action movies go. I was like, oh, yeah. Matter of fact, when Caitlin ran into that truck and closed herself in, I was like, oh, that's good. I literally said that.
It was good.
That's good. That's good writing.
But anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. The reason I brought that up is they're up against the odds. They're going to have to fight this whole army of terrorists. And they're having like this sentimental moment before she goes in there. And she's like, man, I'm probably going to die. At the very least, they're going to like
blow my head off.
Blow me up so bad. And she says to him, this is the last time I'll ever be pretty. And then kisses him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about their relationship at any point in the movie that would suggest that they had any sort of physical relationship. And so why exactly is she kissing Mitch? And so I was thinking about this, and I'm like, it seems to me that whoever wrote this almost wanted to like throw Mitch a bone because it's like, oh, he's this good guy who's been helping her and he helped save her daughter and he's going out of his way to fight these terrorists on her behalf. Well, he's being a great guy. The least that he could do is get to kiss this hot girl.
Ew. That seems very incel-y.
It does. Yes, it does. And
Ugh.
that is literally the only reason I could think of why they would have this scene happen is like, oh, like, of course he deserves to kiss this woman. Look at all the things he's done for her.
Because earlier on when she
Because she has no reason to kiss him.
Yeah, when she changes it into Charlie, she tries to seduce him in the hotel, and he was like, "Who's this person? This is not Samantha. Like, get off me." And at that point, she's doing it for a purpose. Like, she always sleeps with guys to get what she wants. And he rebuffs her and is like, "Nah, what are you doing?" But in that moment, he accepts the kiss. But I guess it is kind of because he felt like, well, it's the least she could do.
And I was like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah, it did nothing for me. I'm like, this kiss doesn't even make sense. Because
It doesn't
going
make
back
any
to your
sense.
earlier point, it's not like she and Samantha are two separate beings. She has a whole man, Hal, back home.
Hal is a complete afterthought for the majority of this film.
Until the end for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that happens. But yeah, so they end up being able to stop the terrorists. They do drive the truck out of the city limits so no one really gets hurt. They drive basically in between New York and Canada, and they're able to blow up the bridge. But this scene right here, where Mitch is in the car, so Mitch gets in that car where they had like the dead person they were going to pin the whole terrorist attack on. He's in the car and he gets Caitlin and Charlie into the vehicle.
That's right! You can't kill me, motherfuckers!
And now they're basically trying to beat the bomb from engulfing them in flames. And he's driving at top speed to get off of this bridge.
In his hoopty.
The bridge is exploding. And I mean, I'll say, like, it was fun to watch. Like, all the fire burning behind them. The cars are getting blown in front of them. And they're trying to outrun this. And I'm like, there's no way. They all would have been dead.
But it's also
There's
the
just
fact
no
that
way.
a bridge got blown up. So cars are basically like dropping from the sky.
Mhm.
And then she's like, watch out, look for that one.
Yeah,
So
Caitlin's like, don't hit the cars.
he's like swerving around trying to evade these cars that are dropping like flies all around him.
There's no way. It
was silly,
it
but
was funny.
whatever. It was funny.
It was funny. So I enjoyed watching that. So they're able to escape.
Well, before that though, we have to talk about the fact that after, mind you, Kaylin's in the truck. We know that Mitch is in this decoy car. Charlie, meanwhile, is just
Well, we
killing
thought Mitch was basically dead because he got shot up.
That's right.
We thought he was dead, or at least badly injured.
But when the truck is driving through town, Charlie is just following it on foot. She's just running through the woods and shooting everyone. She's just killing everyone that gets in her way. And then at some point she is able to recover the truck, but then the brakes go out. So then it turns into the movie Speed.
Right.
And she's like, oh no, of course. And then she just decides to drive the truck into a brick wall, which again does not make sense when number one, it's strapped with a bomb, and number two, the daughter you're trying to save is in the truck.
Yeah, I didn't understand why
So driving into a brick wall is not, it was completely nonsensical. Anyway, all of this happens, the truck falls over, but the bomb hasn't blown up yet. And she's able to, like, just by the skin of her teeth, open the hatch and get her daughter out. But she's like, just run away. Mommy will be right after you. And then she just collapses on the floor.
Wait a minute. Before you finish your thought, what really got me mad about that scene was she takes her daughter out. They have a minute to stop and embrace. And I'm like, there's a bomb. There's a bomb on the truck. We don't have time for this.
She stops to have a conversation with her daughter right next to the truck. Like, it's not like she went somewhere else. It's like, oh, let's talk right here.
It's insane.
The bomb's going to blow up in 2 minutes.
Get her out and, like, run or tell her to run or something. But, like, holding her and, are you okay? Mommy's here. I was like, I have nothing for this. I had nothing.
So then she tries to get her daughter to run away, but then she just collapses on the ground right next to the truck. And,
Well, she had been stabbed. She had been
and the
stabbed.
daughter
And
comes back.
this made you laugh?
This is so dumb because the daughter comes back. She's like, "Mom, no! Get up now!" The daughter basically like yelled her back to life.
She said, "Life is pain. You just get used to it."
Of course.
And then her eyes fluttered. And then she
It's like, wait, I thought she was passed out. So then her daughter screamed at her, and then
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh man, that brought me back to life."
I mean, if a kiss can do it, then I think a scream should be able to do it.
Bro, that joint is so funny to me, man.
And this is when Mitch is able to come up and get them up out of there.
Right. Now, the other thing that I didn't love is at the end of the movie, we talked about how she decides to basically live the Samantha Kane life,
Mhm.
despite now she has all of the cash from Charlie.
Yeah.
So she's made in the shade, but she's gonna be a mom and a wife and a school teacher.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we see Mitch doing a press run because now he helped to uncover this terrorist plot, and he's
Yeah.
doing a sit down on Larry King Live,
Mhm.
and he's making jokes about, you know, whatever I deal with women, I'm always frank and earnest.
Mhm.
In New York, I'm frank, and in Chicago, I'm earnest.
I said, why is he doing bits?
He's doing bits.
You just saved
He's doing bits.
the country from a terrorist plot.
He's doing
And you
bits.
telling jokes.
He's doing bits, and Larry King's like, okay, all right, that's cool. But the thing that I didn't love about it is we see Mitch's ex-partner, his baby moms, and the son sitting at home watching this on TV, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Mhm.
He's a hero now.
Mhm.
And it kind of felt like the film was like allowing him to like win one over on mom at the end of
Yeah.
the movie, but I'm like, but he's
Yeah.
still a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
Like he still sucks, and it seemed like they were almost like giving him the final win over mom. It's like, oh look, he's a hero. Don't you feel bad? It's like, no, he still has been an awful partner and was not there for his son's life. It's not even like he goes back and says like, oh son, I want to. No, he's just goofing around with
Or
Larry
like,
King.
I got some money and now I can help you pay for rent or whatever the case may be. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we did Armageddon. A very similar storyline with one of the not astronaut. He was one of the roughnecks
Mhm.
who ends up going up to space. And remember, he couldn't see his son. Like it was a whole thing where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sounds like he was
Yeah.
probably abusive or something. And then of course at the very end, he's like this
saved Earth.
hero, and he shows up at the house. No, they're watching him on TV, and the mom goes to the son. You know who that is? That's your daddy. And I'm like, so now you want him to see his son because yes, he saved the earth, but he's still a terrible person.
He's still
beat your ass.
deadbeat dad.
Like, yeah, so it was very similar to that, where it's like, I'm glad you did this thing, and I'm glad to see that maybe you're changing, but like, we have no evidence that he's changed towards her or that he's tried to make amends with her.
No,
But, you know,
he's literally making jokes on CNN about being a philanderer. So
yeah,
we can assume that he has not changed.
you're right.
But now he's famous, so it's like, oh man.
Well,
Anyway,
alright.
so let's talk about
Themes.
there are a few different things that come out of this, and
Okay.
I know that you mentioned that Flip Stickers was one of the people that requested this movie. He's also a part of our Patreon community, and when we said that we were going to be covering this movie, he made a comment in there about how this movie was kind of a spark plug for a lot of 9/11 conspiracy theorists. And I do see the connection very clearly because, there's the whole thing about like, George Bush set up the tower crash, and the towers didn't actually knock down because of the plane crash because steel beams can't melt, and all these conspiracy theories from 9/11. But I do think that one of the bigger themes that comes out of it is like this idea of what is our government actually hiding from us?
Man, oh
And
man.
Arlington Road was also like another thing. It's like you see these things in the news about these terrorist attacks, but you don't actually have any idea about who's like actually
Right.
behind it.
But oh, it was a sole actor. And it's like, but was it?
Yeah, one crazy guy
Yeah.
that
Doubt
decided
it.
to shoot the president in the ear.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just like
We're not doing that.
it's just like I don't know, man.
We're not
I
doing
don't
that.
know.
We're not doing that.
But I think the other theme, especially when we're thinking about the whole Samantha versus Charlie, is like you can't run away from who you really are. And from the beginning of the film, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna live my life as this innocent school teacher.
Mhm.
But then, like, the real her starts to show up, and then when she does the switch over to Charlie, it's like, oh, I don't care about anybody but myself, and I just use people to get what I want. But it's almost like the Samantha was always inside of her, and she was kind of purposefully trying to ignore it. We don't know Charlie's backstory, but presumably she's been through something that makes her feel like she can't rely on other people.
Right.
But then the Samantha that was always inside of her comes back out through the form of this daughter that she said she didn't really want to have. I think on some level, you could also say the same about Perkins. It's like, who were you really this whole time? Like, you seemed very
Yeah,
willing
easy
to team up with the enemy.
which is insane.
Like, literally the people that you have been trying to catch and kill, you are now organizing a terrorist plot with.
Money.
And then even with Mitch, it's like, yeah, you're a hero, but you're still a deadbeat at the end of the day. Like, you know, I think there is this theme throughout the movie with different characters about like just who you are on the inside, and you can kind of like run away from it, and you can even lie to yourself, but the real you always ends up coming out.
Well, I feel like with the Mitch character, I think what they were trying to portray is this idea that it's never too late for redemption. Like, although we know like he's still a philanderer at the end, earlier on in the movie when he confesses to Sam that he used to be a cop who has stolen like those bonds and he went to jail for it, he basically admits to her that he had never done anything good in his life. Like he's always been a terrible person. And so at the end, when Caitlin is ended up being in the truck and they're driving away with her, and he's trying to figure out like how he can possibly help, he tells uh not Samantha, Charlie, that he's gonna go out and basically try to kill these people to rescue Caitlin. And he says to her, I want to be able to do at least one good thing in my life, which is basically helping her get her daughter back. And although he gets shot, and we think,
That's why she decides to kiss him.
well, when that happens, they weren't actually together. They were talking over the radio, I believe, because he was like, cover me or something. I'm gonna go try to get her.
Yeah.
So I think this idea of like his entire life, he's been a terrible person. And he's like, I've never done anything right. And this is my one opportunity for me to do something. And he did, because if it wasn't for him, Caitlin and Charlie would have both been dead. So he was able to at least affect change for those two people's lives, at least. The bomb still went off, but no one was actually injured apart from a bunch of those terrorists who were trying to chase her for some reason. But he was able to change, at least in that sense, to care about someone else. Because as far as we're concerned, he never really cared about anyone else, maybe except for his son, maybe. But everyone else, like he's using his receptionist as a sex worker and talking to her all crazy. Like, matter of fact, when he was setting up that John, he said something like, oh, like based on who you have here, you don't have very expensive taste or something.
That's crazy.
Like he was just talking to her crazy, and I'm like, bro, you're working for this man. Like, this guy's a scumbag. But towards the end, you know, he was able to do something good. So I guess there's this idea that if you're listening out there and you're a scumbag, it's not too late. Do
something
for you.
good.
Yeah, it's not too late.
You dirtbag.
You can be changed for good, as they say in the Wicked movie.
Mm.
So there you go. All right. Some facts.
Let's hear some
Just
facts.
minimum. So for this film, there weren't a lot of facts out there that I could actually verify. Like, if you look at IMDb, it'll have like trivia or facts about the film. But then when you click on the link to see like where the fact is from, a lot of them were like Facebook. I was like, yeah, I'm not I'm not quoting something I saw on Facebook.
Nah, dog.
So I went and
That's the
found
last place you want to quote anything from.
I found a couple of interviews where both Jackson and Davis talked about how they were doing a lot of their own stunts. Um, like for instance, a stunt where they are jumping out of like the third story window and they're like catapulting down to the ground.
Right.
They are wearing wires and they're coming down, and so it's two different shots. So the one shot is they're wearing wires and they're coming down onto like a studio and they're landing on the ground. The second shot is when you see them coming up. She shoots down to the ground. It's like frozen ice,
Uh-huh.
and then it falls through. They fall under the ice and they come up. Well, in order to do that, on a Jennifer Hudson show, Jackson said that he thought it was going to be like on a set, like they're going to like pretend to do something and come up, and they were like, "Oh no, we found this great lake where we can actually shoot this." The day they shot this, he said it was minus 37 degrees that day.
Nah, dog. Get my stunt double
They're in
there.
Canada.
Get my stunt double in there, dog.
No, he said the director wanted them to be in as many shots as possible. Because like if you cut,
Yeah, I bet he did.
so
That's not what I want.
but listen,
I'm the talent, dog. I'm second billing on this film.
This is crazy. So he said it was mad cold, as you can imagine. He said the ice was between 4.5 to 5 feet thick. What they had to do was they cut a huge hole in this block of ice in this river, and they put a hot tub in the middle of the ice. The hot tub was placed in the ice because there was a current in the lake, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't basically float under the ice. Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, in
Be
order
trapped underneath
in
it.
order to do the shot, they had to crawl across the ice, get into this hot tub, go down under it, count to 5, and then come up. And then they had to like get out from the ice and then crawl out like to do the shot. So he said we did this the first time, and now they're waiting in a hot tub as they review the footage, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't get it right. You guys got to do it again." So every time they're wet, crawling across ice, getting into a hot tub, going under, coming back up, crawling across ice, getting back into a hot tub, waiting. Nope, we got to do it again. Crawling back, like, so he was saying the back and forth and back and forth. You're going from hot to cold, hot to cold. He
Yeah,
said
everybody's gonna get sick.
not even just sick. He said it was like he's never felt anything like this before in his life. In another interview, Geena Davis said it felt like you were being hit in the head with a sledgehammer every time because you're going from hot to cold, and your brain is like, I don't know how to compute it. He said after they did it 5 times.
Nah, dog.
He said after the last shot, he said
I'm not doing it again.
he said I woke up in my trailer, and I was covered in one of those silver thermal insulation blankets.
Yeah, I bet.
Doesn't even remember how he got there. And he's like, think about brain freeze, but like times 200. Like your brain is just, what is happening? Your body feels mad discombobulated. And he said that was probably the craziest stunt he's ever done in any film. But this character, he said, is one of his favorite roles that he's ever done. He said it was just so much fun playing this character of Mitch that he really enjoyed doing it. Something else that I found that was interesting is that the name of Charlie's, I guess, alter ego when she's Samantha, her name is Sam Kane. And if you like change the letters around, it spells amnesiac,
Oh, that's pretty good.
which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. And now,
It's time for the Rewind Ratings.
all right, who wants to go first?
Me.
All right.
So we talk about the rewatchability. We talk about how well the movie has aged. I guess I'll start with how well the movie has aged. I do feel like it is a unique and yet in some ways stereotypical 90s action movie. We talked about a lot of the things that didn't age well, particularly like every woman in this movie being called a bitch multiple times. just like the cheesy action movie stuff that you see in action films. But I also feel like when you're coming into a movie like this and you know that it's made in 1996, you're almost like expecting some of that. Um, I do feel like some of the stuff that made me cringe wasn't to the level of like I can never watch this movie again.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like there were enough good plot twists, like the fiance is not really the fiance, and the truck bomb, and the the boss that turns into a bad guy, and like all the stuff with trying to escape the from the bad guys and to save the daughter. Like it was entertaining, and I was into it as I was watching it. And I feel like with an action movie, I think that's the most valuable thing is like, are you setting it up in a way that's unique when this is probably one of the least unique genres?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like you have more work to do when you're making an action movie to make the film stand out. And I feel like they did a pretty good job with that. So I'm going to give it 3.5 rewinds.
Okay, good. I really enjoyed this one. So, like I said before, I did watch it once before, but it was a long time ago. And honestly, a lot of this film I forgot. For some reason, I remembered the freezer scene. I don't even know why, but that stood out to me. So I kind of remembered that. But other than that, I didn't remember a lot of this movie. And I was pleasantly surprised. I laughed a lot. Like you said, this movie does a good job of making fun of the genre, but also like just like, you know what, we're here, we're just gonna go for it, like
Hmm.
digging in its heels. I also enjoyed the fact that you have a female lead, and Geena Davis is fantastic. I did read a lot of things that said that she does do a lot of her own stunts, and Jackson was saying that like she's very talented and she commits to her roles. We talked a lot about that in the episode
League of
on
Their
League of
Own.
Their Own about how she like learned how to hit the ball in baseball and dive and do all this stuff. So anything with Gina Davis, I feel like I'm interested in watching after learning about how committed she is when she does her roles. I did laugh quite a bit. I mean, when you have Samuel Jackson, it's kind of hard not to laugh because the way he delivers his lines is just very comedic. Even when I'm not even sure he's trying to be, it just the way he does things is just always funny to me. Would I watch this film again? I would. While there were things that didn't age well, we do understand that it was the 90s and it was a different time. And I really enjoyed it. So for me, as far as an action film goes, I'm giving this one a 4.
Okay, a 3.5 and a 4. It was also funny to me that the first scene we see Samuel L. Jackson in is when he's doing this fake bust and he literally bursts in through the door and starts yelling. I'm like, well, that
Yeah.
is we know we know we're watching a Sam Jackson movie.
Yeah, we needed that.
Let us know what your rewind rating for The Long Kiss Goodnight is. You can contact us via email at rewindrewatch1990s@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all of the different social media platforms at RR90s Pod. And you can also find us on Patreon, where you can join the community for $5 a month to chat directly with us and other patrons, as well as to receive bonus episodes each month covering movies from the late 80s and the early 2000s.
And speaking of emails, I wanted to give a shout out to a new listener. This listener is Jaleesa, and she is from Philly, PA. She sent
Shout out to
us,
Philly. Shout out to Jaleesa.
yeah, she sent us an email
Love Philly.
saying that she started listening to us randomly on Apple Podcasts. And she said she immediately sent it to her friends and family to listen. She sent us a bunch of movie requests. So, again, people, do not be shy. And she said that she's already almost through all of the episodes.
Wow.
So, shout out to you for listening and passing this on to your friends and family,
Uh,
as you all should
yeah,
be.
get those streams up. Love that. And yes, that is the best way, whether it's by email or by social media or YouTube comment.
hmm
we're looking at everything. So if you have movies that you want us to cover on the pod, just let us know what movies you would like to request, and if and when we select those movies, we will be sure to give you a shout out at the top of the episode.
All right, and now it's time for our final words.
Final words for a Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah.
You foxy bitch.
Mine is, that's a duck, not a dick.
Oh, that's a duck, not a dick. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, that's the movie.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next Thursday.
Adios.